Hello and welcome to Web of Light. I'm Dr. Kevin.
And I'm Angie Donahue.
On today's show, we're actually going to share with you the talk that Angie did on angels. Henceforth, we have a visitor today. I don't know if you can... Oh, there she is. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely? So, at the Web of Light Expo that we did in April, and we do have another one coming up. We have one coming up September 30th, October 1st in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And so you did a whole conversation on angels there.
I did.
You did.
And I will be doing that again at the September one because I always love to include that.
Okay.
This is when you view this talk that I've done, you'll see that people are allowed to learn how simple it is to communicate with angels. And I just want to inspire people that it's all right to talk with the angels. Listen to some of the things that you receive when you see my talk on the station. And, you know, as September 30th comes closer, come on down and see me. I'd love to have you be in one of those sessions.
Okay. So I want to ask you a few questions before we get to the talk, and also let people know that, you know, our Earth Day, we call it our Earth Day Expo, the Web of Light, you know, weaving a web of light. We do it around Earth Day. It was Earth Day weekend 2017. It's going to be Earth Day weekend 2018. But on 2019, it will be just
a little
the weekend
off from that.
before. Yeah. You know how that thing shifts on the calendar? But first of all, so let's share a little bit about what Portsmouth is going to look like, because this was Nashua. And Nashua, again, like you said, it was Earth Day weekend. We had about 1,000 people come in through the doors over the weekend. We had about 120 vendors, and we had over 30 presentations. Portsmouth is going to be a little different because we don't have as much presentation space. So we're going to do about 20 presentations.
Correct.
For the weekend. And we're going to have about 110 vendors. I think we're having just a few less.
Just a few less.
Yep. And we had 20 intuitives in Nashua, but again, the space is set up a little different, so we're only going to be doing 15 at this one. So, that being said, how long when was the first time you talked to an angel?
When I was actually around, well, I'll tell you, it was probably about 5 or 6 years old.
5 or 6 years old? Yeah. Okay. Which angel did you talk to?
The first angel that gave me a name was called Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Rebecca. That was her name.
Now, have you ever researched the angel Rebecca? Do you have any knowledge?
No, I actually take them for, you know, they're angels. And I'm not really, I mean, I love hearing their names, but I don't keep track of names, and it's kind of funny because I'm very hard. I forget names.
Yeah.
So you could walk up to me, and it's like 15 minutes later, I get okay, what's their name? And I think part of that might be because I've always had spirit around, so it's spirit to spirit. We're spirit too.
Okay. So on that, talking to Rebecca was the first one, and I've seen some reference to Rebecca that was like, I think it was Rebekka for some reason stands out in my mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting.
Well,
I can't tell you anything about her, you know, because you know I also do work with angels, but I do it differently than you do.
But you know, I have to say that the reason Rebecca really sticks out of my mind was because Rebecca was actually, how can I say it? She came to me the most physically of all the angels.
Can you elaborate?
It's a pretty interesting little story, and I've never shared this with you.
Well, do tell.
Yeah.
It's just you and me here.
So where we lived, we had an airport. There was an airport in town, and the airplanes would always fly by. And Rebecca actually met up to me on a day when I was in the street, and there were no other people, no other children around. My neighborhood had boys in the neighborhood. I had hardly any little girlfriend, little girls to play with. And all of a sudden, this girl started skipping down the street. She was full-figured. I felt that she was another little girl that had come from maybe a block away. So I started having a conversation with her to make friends. And she looked at me and she's like, there's a plane that's coming by. And I looked up and it was, and it's like, yeah, I like planes. And she goes, she saluted to it. She said to me, you should always salute to the airplanes because they've done a lot for us. And I never understood that. All I know is that she had herself salute to the airplane. And at that point, I was so excited that there was a little girl around the neighborhood. I ran in to tell my mom and told her to come on over. And when I got back out, she was nowhere to be found. Nowhere. And like my mom was like, back at that point, these were like close-knit neighborhoods. Everybody kind of talked and knew who was around and everything. And never to be found. So, but then I realized in an acknowledgement, probably about a month or so later, she came to me in spirit. And she said, don't be afraid, but I just wanted to connect with you. And she had numerous conversations with me in spirit after that first, almost like a physical connection. It was pretty interesting.
So what I'm hearing you say is that angels can appear to you in any form they wish.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people, think that if they don't show up with feathers on their back and long gowns and, that somehow it's not an angel, when angels only appear that way in the paintings.
Well,
the
realistically, if you actually look in, I do angel studies and I work with talking and training people about angels, but angels, the appearance of angels are what the people, what they want you to appear them as, because if you look back into history of angels and into the chronicles of angels, you wouldn't think some of the stuff that you see or descriptions that you hear would be angelic at no term of all. I don't know if you ever looked into that, but there were pretty fearsome descriptions of some of the angels.
Well, angels, there was a time period when angels were meant to be feared.
Yeah.
They were almost like the soldiers of God.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got a PR upgrade.
Yeah.
And they became softer and gentler and more loving and more fluffy.
But not all angels are soft and loving. Some of them still held that boldness.
So I'm hoping that I'm not asking you things that was in your talk. I'm trying to find the things that weren't in your talk, because we're going to go to your talk in just a minute.
No, I don't think I've never really gotten into that piece in my talk, because in my talk I generally just go into working with them and how to ask, how to respond to things.
Okay, so that's good. So one last question for you, and then we're going to actually share with our audience the talk so that they can, they didn't make it to this last year's Expo in Nashua. Mm-hmm. Perhaps they'll come to us in Portsmouth, or maybe we'll see them next year at Nashua. But just in case, or where the show goes from Maine to California, so some of these people may never get to any of our expos, which is one of the reasons we want to share it. Do you have a favorite angel?
Do I have a favorite angel?
You have a favorite angel?
I have a favorite archangel.
Okay.
Archangel Gabriel.
Okay, and why is Gabriel?
Because Gabriel's very helpful in communication with me.
Okay. And I lied. I'm going to ask one more question. Actually, I'm just pulling in Angie, thinking of a recent meeting you and I were at.
One more.
She just kept on getting yelled at. You said one more question 5 questions ago. Do you remember what I said at that point?
No, I don't.
I said, it's just one question with a lot of commas, colons, and semicolons. I don't think the woman appreciated that, but that's okay. So, relationships between angels and humans. Intimate, personal? Do you think that everybody has a different relationship with an angel?
People should all have personal relationships with their angels. Because when they have personal relationships with their angels, it's like having a friend that you may not ever find around you because you're too involved with being concerned with who's looking at you a certain way. So if you have a friend with an angel, you're never alone.
Okay. We're going to cut to seeing Angie's actual talk. You get to sit in and be a guest at a Web of Light Expo talk. And then we'll be right back, and where I've got a couple more questions for you, and we'll wind up. And we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to pick this up when it reaches 00. Did you talk about, in your talk, did you talk about the difference between angels and archangels?
Yes, I believe I did.
Okay, so I don't want to ask that question. I want to ask a question that you didn't. Okay, so I think I'm going to know where I'm going to go because I'm pretty sure you probably didn't cover this. Again, I'm trying to find stuff I know you didn't
It's drilling
cover.
me now.
Okay.
It's like,
Well, that was quite the talk on angels. We want to thank Angie. Angie, so angels go through periods of popularity. And several years ago, angels went through a big period of popularity. You had the angel show that Michael Landon, there was an angel show Michael Landon
yes.
did. And then there was another show that this young, I think it was an Australian woman did. One was called Touched by an Angel.
Touched by an Angel.
But there was another angel show that
there were a few on at one period, yeah.
Did you ever watch any of the old popular angel shows when they were on?
A little bit. I never got into, entranced with them. So.
Was there one thing that stands out to you? Because all of these are on reruns, and you can find everything today on the internet or YouTube or whatever. So people, if they start getting interested in angels, might go back and watch some of these shows. Was there any one thing that ever stood out to you as something they just got completely wrong, or was just not your experience, that was Hollywood instead of Heavenwood, so to speak?
I mean, there were a few.
Can you give us a couple? We've only got a couple of minutes before we have to wrap the show up.
It would be easier to give the other ones that actually look very... Okay, so...
Do it that way,
I'm not going to go through the shows because the shows that they had on... There was one show that they did on Touched by an Angel, and I don't recall the whole skit around it. All I do know is that a lot of times when she had these discussions or she had these feelings that the angels would, bring her into, that's exactly like she did I'm not good with actresses' names, but she did a very good part because it was that feeling of this is exactly how it would feel, or this is exactly how it would have been impressed by an angel if they're connecting with you. And it makes you actually feel like, why would I want to do that? Or you actually question the angel, or say, you really want me to do that? Because that's part of it. The angels are sometimes talking to you or giving you messages of some guidance that you're like, you want me to do that in front of all these people? Really? And this one particular show, was like that. She kind of showed that display of that total reaction. And she also showed that amazement that no matter how many times you connect with the angels and they help you to harbor, help another person or help a situation, you're always in awe because you just can't believe you were part of that, or it's just a very beautiful feeling.
Okay.
And there were others that was like a lot of them were like, oh, this is supposed to be, they just make it feel like, they expect that from the angel, and that was great. And that's not the way you would take it, because it's like, wow, that happened again, but this one was special.
Okay, so here is my wrap-up question for you.
Okay.
Because the show's now almost over. I don't know if it's still on the air. I heard some glimpses of it. I don't watch TV, but I'll hear things through the internet and whatever. Where a comedian, Jane, she was on Glee. She was Sylvester. She was Sue Sylvester on Glee, and it was Jane. I'm going to blank it. It's so funny. I can remember her character's name, but not her. But she recently, in the last 12 or 18 months, did an angel show as well, where she showed up to be somebody's angel. But she was kind of like sarcastic and wise guy.
Oh,
and
yeah, I know who you're talking about now. Yes,
Yeah.
that didn't last too long.
It didn't last too long. I didn't know whether it lasted long. Did you see any of those episodes?
Yes, I did.
What did you think of her portrayal as an angel?
Well,
She's our most recent.
I mean, I myself have come across angels that are very like, their personality comes out, because it's like after a while they do. A lot of people say that they're pure, they're gentle, they don't harm you, If they need to boot you in the butt, they're going to boot you in the butt.
Yep, that's been my experience with angels.
And so her portrayal of that was dead on in that respect. That does happen. Angels don't always just sit there and say, I'm going to take care of you right now. A lot of times they'll push you through the door and stuff your face in something, and you get it now. And that's exactly what that show made me think of, was when they throw you in and say, you get it yet?
Yeah.
Because they are, even angels are about that too. If you're not getting it, knock, knock, let's get somebody home and give thought to it. So, yeah.
Well, the way that it's worked out has been, I've never had a chance, when you're doing your talk on angels, I'm tied up running around the expo. Mm-hmm. You've never been in the same place that I have been when I do my Truth About Angels class. So we don't really we've never compared, quote unquote, compared notes on how we see angels and see angels differently or alike. Maybe at one of these expos we'll flip things around.
Yeah, I know. We'll have
maybe
to do
I'll
that.
do an angel talk, and maybe have you do a different one. There are some talks you do I can't do. Like we've had a show on your numerology talk, which I don't do numerology. And I would never expect that you'd do my ADD talk. But it might be fun to kick around the angel talk and developing your intuition talk, which is one of the talks I did. Yeah. Just because we change it up a little differently. That being said, we want to welcome you to this, to this Web of Light show. Thank you for joining us. If you are just recently joining the Web of Light family, I know that this show goes from Maine to California and back again now through the public access system. If you have recently joined us, please send us an email to either Dr. Kevin or Angie at weboflight.com. Let us know you've joined our family. We aren't always notified when we pick up a new station, and we would love to greet you and welcome you to the family. Until then, angels, do you have them? Well, the answer is probably yes. Do you want to have them? The answer is probably yes. Will you do the work to actually have a relationship with them? That I can't tell you. Namaste.
What we do here at what I do is I'm a spiritual consultant. I'm a medium. I also work with Enchanted Tarot. I train people in how to be true intuitives. Okay, I train people on how to be positive for themselves. And I also love to train people on knowing that they are a special piece of the universe. Okay, and with that said, I also love to have people realize that they have an abundance of angels to call upon. And so when I bring these talks together, I start with the angels because it's very simple for someone to communicate with an angel. And it's one of the most simplest pieces and forms of energy that you can connect with. Okay? And so when you start to work with your angels, you start to actually be able to communicate and be able to see the light that's down the path from that distance that you might be in. Okay? In this session, generally what I do here is I start out by telling you a little bit about angels, and I also kind of have some fun because I sit here and start to see who's around or what might be around for maybe a few messages from deceased loved ones if they happen to be here. But then I also give everybody the opportunity to allow themselves to connect with their angel. Okay, whether that be through the messages that they receive or the feelings that they transpire from the experience that we have in this room. So I'm going to start out by asking everybody in here the first question that I always have. When there's a lightning storm or when you walk into a room and there's been some kind of drama there or some kind of very beautiful melody there, you feel that. How many have that experience? Oh, I walked in and I think I better walk back out. Or I walked in and I just want to sit in this beautiful energy. That is a part of your intuitive, which everybody carries, okay? It's another piece of our senses that we need to learn how to develop because it helps us to be more aware. And when we're aware of what's around us in our world, we can accomplish much more than we ever dreamed we could. Right? But we have to take that first step. And in order to take that first step, sometimes we have fear. And fear comes from humanity's ways of saying, don't do that. Oh, well watch out. Let's release the fear, because when you're with your divine, with your spiritual realm, okay, fear is not a word. Think positive or pray. That's about what it comes down to. Ask the angels and say thank you. Ask your divine, give gratitude. It comes right away. It may take a little time, but that's because we have to learn patience in our earthly journey. But if you think of something that you really waited for in the past and you were really like, oh my goodness, this is never going to change, most of you can turn around and say, I got really beautiful intentions that surrounded me when all was said and done. Okay, and if you haven't experienced that, it's generally because you're not connecting fully with your angels and with your divine and with your own inner self. You're taking on everybody else's and bringing it to you and just containing it. And so now we have to release it. We have to fulfill that moment of release. And when we fulfill that moment of release, we can receive. So angels are there for you. There are archangels that come to you when the time is needed. Protection. Anyone who does anything with any service with people, servicing people, whether it be the government, whether it be in a school, whether it be in a nursing home, you all have a very special angel with you who's called Archangel Michael. He's a protector of those who nurture and support those who exist on the earth. And I do believe when I say that, it's not just their love for another person and taking care of another person, it's also any of the creatures, plants, and whatever is on this earth plane. Because we are all a piece of that same energy. And so, you have that. If you aren't in that type of service, which I doubt very many of you aren't, because you always tend to help somebody around you, no matter what. So always call upon Archangel Michael to bring you through your darkest moments. And he will be there to support you and carry you through those. Archangel Gabriel, if something's not coming around to you, speak. and know that the speak will come to you. Archangel Gabriel is very, how can I say it? It helps you to vocalize. If you're afraid to say your piece because, you're afraid that you're going to be tormented, or you're afraid that somebody's going to ridicule you or whatever, say, Archangel Michael, walk with me and let me speak my truth. And let me speak it so it comes out of me in a pleasant way, not in a rupturous way. And when you do that, you just flow. And you don't start the argument, you start the flow. And you'll be surprised at what you will receive when you start that. Just let it be, let it come through, let it work. And then I'm going to go away from the archangels because the angels are around us. Every single living creature on this earth plane has 2 angels. So if you think about that, how many angels are there? There's people, there's dogs, there's cats, there's horses, there's grass, there's trees, we can go on and on and on. Know that the angels are here for every living piece that's on this earth plane. Okay? And know that if there's that much of an abundance of those angels that are around you, those are just the supporting angels that help you, perhaps if you're going to fall, or perhaps if you're going to get into some trouble. They're the ones that kind of, you hear them in your mind saying, I don't think you should do that. It's that feeling, that consciousness that you receive. Okay? And then on top of all that, we have what we call helper angels. And helper angels are those that are just looking for something to do. Okay, helper angels are those that feel that if I ask, I'll receive. So I want to ask, how many have ever worked with their helper angels in this room? Yeah, a few. Okay. And how many have never really thought of calling upon an angel to give some help to you other than something that was drastic? Okay, well, that's good. We're going to show you I'm going to give you homework. So the homework is we go out into the world. We're going to do 2 projects right now. One is we're going to go home and we're going to get ourselves a nice little notebook. And we're going to start writing in that notebook from the back forward. Start on the last page. Start to write down the things that you really want to have happen. The things that you truly want to desire. And not just like, I want a car, I need a car. It's I need a car, but I would love to have it be blue. I would love to have it have 4 doors. Put the specifics into it. And say, I am worthy of this, and then let it be. Put that out. Angels, here I am writing this. This is what I truly want. This is my list. Please allow me to find a way to achieve it. And do this practice and look at those notes on that last page, probably a few times during the week, but then let it go. All right, that's a writing assignment. And you can keep adding to that. And you can also, what I want all everybody to do is, a lot of times we're not aware when things are brought to us. A lot of times we get our answers, but we totally are into the next chapter and we like back, oh yeah, that's right, that did fix, that it got fixed, and I didn't even notice it because I got so busy with something else. Start to notice these things, and what I want you to do is on the front page, write, thank you, angel, and the date that you got that realization. And as you go through doing this for a while, this isn't something you do once or twice and think that it's going to work. You have to keep continuously doing it for a while so you can see the progression of where you're going with it. Okay? The other piece that you want to work with is asking. And I'm going to tell you one of the greatest things, and I have a group right now that's with me, and they have been. I've had other groups with me in the past. We go in and we have a time of just gathering together to learn about how to reflect the positive. Had a group of ladies, it was all ladies, sorry, but they all were like, okay, we're going to say that I will receive money this week. I will receive more money this week than usual. Thank you. That was all they did. And they did this. And out of a group of 14 people, I want to say that 11 people came back to report to us that, hey, you know what? This certain amount that I didn't ever even think was around came to me. And then there were a few that were like, nothing really happened to me. But then they kept doing it. And I said, do it every week. And every week we'd come back and more. As we got to probably 3 months of the exercise, and we were doing other things at that time because I do train in classes. But after the three, it went on for 3 months, I say there was only one that didn't get it yet. So this is something you practice and you do it, and you don't have to keep saying, I want money or I want this. You just say it, like maybe in the morning. I say the best time to do that is to go through your mind with all those things that you need during your shower, when you take your shower, because it's a peaceful moment of yours. And that's all the time it takes. You don't have to add extra time to your day. Instead of sitting in the shower and wondering what I'm going to do with Tommy and where am I going to go for the meal, and bring it back. Let it go. Be with your angels. Be with your guides. Put the protection around you. Allow yourself to ask and receive. And you'll see that your day actually improves. You'll go out to the day and you'll say, oh, okay. You can even sit there and be like, okay, I've got this really bad meeting today. I don't want to really have to go through too much frustration. So I'm going to cleanse myself, and I'm going to say that I'm going to have a beautiful discussion with them. I'm going to make it through this perfectly. And that's it. Let it go. Walk out the door, and you'll see. You're going to find it. You're not even going to notice it until later on. And then you're going to say, wow, that was pretty neat, because today I actually went to that, and I didn't have to go through pulling my hair out or anything over it. And as you experience this is what's going to make you understand how to connect so easily with your angels, with your guides, with your inner self, your needs. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about angels? Spirit? Anything?
I had one, but I totally lost it. Oh, so I start every day just saying, I'm going to receive a wonderful miracle today, and I graciously accept it.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. And that's
when I'm in the shower, the last thing I do is thank you, God, angel spirits, and the Almighty, for a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm. That's the way to be. Because if you show that gratitude before it even happens, you already know it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's why you show them the gratitude. I always looked back at this piece, Mother Teresa. She was always with the children that needed the food, and the villages that were really in famish. And somebody asked her one day, how do you pray, because you always get those nourishments that you want for the children? You always get your prayers answered. And her answer to them was very simple. I say thank you, and I know it's going to be delivered. She goes, I don't pray. I just say thank you. And it's that type of trust that opens the door for your guides, your angels, and all of those that surround you in your heavenly realms to work with you and assist you. Because once we start to take the control back, that's when we lose it. They're like, oh, you're all set. I'm going to just keep going because I'll go with somebody else. She obviously doesn't want my help, or he doesn't want my help because they went and did their own thing, and, they're handling it. Thank you. I am willing to receive. And now I'm going to give my mind and thought to the things that I do in my community, the things that I'm doing during the course of the day, the week. And as I do that and keep myself busy, I see these things come to me without even trying hard. That doesn't mean that you're going to sit there on the couch and say, hey, I'm just going to keep tossing ho-hos and say that and they're going to come. So that's not going to happen. You have to be aware. You have to be alert. Angels are good about giving you ideas. They are good about giving you symbols. They are good about giving you a little bit of understanding of what's coming. So if you go in and you're supposed to go for this wonderful, fantastic new job thing, and your car's having a problem on the road, you get stuck in traffic, you get to the place and the elevator's all messed up, they're giving you a hint. This isn't the place you're supposed to be, and start listening to us because we're going to bring you to the right place. Okay? So start, and if you feel like they're really wanting you to go to a certain event, and you're kind of being hesitant and like, oh no, why would I? If you get that feeling that you're supposed to be someplace, be there. because it's going to open that door to what they need to show you to bring you to your completion. Okay? And that is as simple as it gets with the angels. All right? So, now that I've kind of, that's just a little nutshell, a little overpath of the angelic energies. Yes?
Is there more going on right now? Like,
Are there more coming around?
it feels like the space is thinner.
Yes, it is.
between. And then I actually heard someone say something that really, they said something like, and if you go to Ireland, the veil is even thinner. So, is that part of it?
Well, yeah. Well, what is going on right now in our society, and I'm sure if a lot of you look back past years, that was like there was a very, very big fear of you're connecting with your angel. You're actually going to talk with a spirit. No. There was very, and now you have people who, they're starting to realize, I'm not doing anything to harm anybody. I'm not wishing anybody bad. I'm opening up to the good. And as you get that awareness and you start to, it's like anything else. If I started using a microwave and I was just starting to use microwaves and somebody else says, oh, I'm not going to go near that microwave. And then as you go further into the years, more and more people are adjusting to that. Okay? And this is the same thing we're experiencing here on the earth plane now with our angels and with our spirituality. People are starting to realize that fear is not part of the infinite, it's just not a part of the puzzle. Fear is not a part of what creates us to be of love. Because unconditional love is not fear. Unconditional love is sharing, being with all of those that surround us, and allowing ourselves to receive, not just giving. Okay? And for many years, people have always been in that guilt. Oh, well, I can't receive that, I got to help them, or somebody's got more for me. And now we're starting to experience, people are starting to come to that awareness. And it's starting to open up more and more. And that means that we're opening up ourselves to become more intuitive, to utilize that piece of us to a higher frequency. And those frequencies are now going to start to connect because it's like, oh, good, they're connecting, so well, let's connect. Okay? So, yeah, it's going. And, it's funny because it's funny you talk about Ireland because we have with us, and actually I've been delighted they've been staying with me. We have our two Irish ladies that came here to be at our event from Dublin, Ireland. And oh my goodness, it's just, they are extremely open. They are extremely loving. And I can feel that difference in that energy from those that I've met here versus the Ireland people. And like tonight at 6:30, they're actually having a channeling here, and they're going to work together. And they're just beautiful, So if you aren't doing anything at 6:30 this evening, I think that they're doing $50, and it's only going to be a group of 30 people, and you can sign up at that round circular table that's out there in the hall. But you definitely, it's Orla Hart and Christine Noctor. And I love them dearly, and I think that anybody that was with them would understand how the people from across the pond really look at their spiritual path, because it's a little bit different than us. They're more open. They haven't had as much guilt. So, just want to bend that as well.
And fairies, too? Do fairies play into
Yeah.
all of this?
Yeah. I actually, I work with fairy energies as well. Okay, they can be a little bit more mischievous than angels. They're not as pure. Okay, they have been of the earth plane, and so now that they've gotten their wings, they can be a little rambunctious. However, fairies can be very helpful to those that love to garden, that love to make things very nice and neat, because they like to help you. They're helpers.
You have to be very specific with your ask for fairies.
Yeah, yeah.
Specific.
Very specifics.
They'll give you kind of what they think you asked for.
Yeah. Yeah, they can be funny. It's like you'll You'll actually get a giggle sometimes when you ask them something, because they'll give it to you, but you'll get like something totally different than what your impression of it was.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you ask them for something like you do an angel?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You know, and I haven't done it, and people that know my house right now can attest to this, because I haven't been really doing any of my gardening because a few years ago I hurt myself. But the whole thing is that a few years back when I was doing good, I would actually come and ask them, keep it green, don't let it get messed up. And I didn't have the problem. Now I haven't been asking them lately because I just haven't had the time to be out there to do it. And it's like,
Inside the house.
oh, it's inside the house? Well, you have to give them treats. You have to kind of entice them. Music.
And honey, but you can't give too much milk and honey, because
Yeah.
they'll get drunk.
Milk, honey. But they also, they like fun things. They like crystals. They like pretties. Yeah. They like pretty crystals. They like pretty trinkets. Okay. And it's kind of funny because if you have a fairy in the house, you'll know, because sometimes you'll have like maybe a little tinsel left or a little piece of wrapping paper, and all of a sudden you see it someplace where you know it wasn't there, and you'll go around and say, oh, really? Because you know, it's like you just know that you were doing it here, and then all of a sudden it's someplace like it shouldn't even be, and that's a fairy. So, I'm going to start, before I allow you people to, you're going to play with your cards here. I always let people play with the cards so they can see how easy it is to work with the cards as well. These are angel cards and fairy cards, and it's an assortment. I also have the Archangel deck out. I actually give an oracle card class, workshop, whatever, too. And it's a Doreen Virtue deck that I have out today, and I know it's the most simplest deck to get information from and guidance for somebody who doesn't ever really get into, playing with their spirit. So this is the deck I generally bring with me. And the other one is the Archangels to get a message for the day. So before we get into that, though, I do feel a little energy in the room, so I'm going to share what I'm feeling. So if you just give me a moment, I'd like everybody to just kind of get relaxed. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale and release. So we want this beautiful energy to be around here as I call upon Archangel Michael to bring us love and protection and surround this room with love and protection. I call upon Archangel Gabriel to bring us clear, concise messages that is necessary for the angels, archangels, deceased loved ones, and all of those of the positive realms to come to us to bring. May no negative entities enter this space. This is for the divine, to bring information, to bring joy, to bring goodness and comfort to those that are surrounding us in this space. I open this with love and light. Amen. All right, I'm going to start with way back. I'm looking at you now. It's between the two of you. You're the first that I'm going to pick up is very strong energy. I feel this is a male energy. I feel it's a deceased loved one. Okay? I'm also feeling this incredible energy of I feel this person, whoever it was, they either danced with you or would have some kind of fun time with you. Like I'm taking my hands and I'm like dancing, or I'm skipping, or I'm doing something like this. Does that make a sense to either of you? Yeah. Very happy with that, very joyous with that. And I feel that since they've been gone, there hasn't been as much of that joyfulness or that let's just do it, who cares attitude, okay? And I feel that they're letting you know that they're there to jump and, play. So if you play, you do this. I want to say this either they used to put some kind of there was a music thing. I don't know if it was a radio or if it was something, but I'm seeing that they're like turning something on, and it's a certain, it's like a certain melodies or certain types of music that come around, and we play with it. So watch for that. And dance. And that's what it is. It's a feeling that they're bringing to me that we love you, I love you. And they're between the two of you, and I feel that both of you are interconnected with this somehow. Okay? So know that dance, frolic, that's the energy I'm receiving from this. And it's reminding you to do so. Okay? Who had a boat over here, right in this area? I had a feeling it would be you. I had a feeling it would be you because it's like right there. Some kind of okay, this is a boat, but it took a trip. I don't know if you went from like one port to another port to another port, or you went from like one landing to another landing to another landing. I'm just feeling that this is something like I miss stopping at, and I'm going to say ports, but it's in that type of a feeling. They miss that, but there's somebody younger who's a male around you on this earth plane now that needs to continue that pattern somehow. And they're reluctant to take the time to do so because they feel there's too much. This is a message to take them by the suspenders is how I'm feeling, and just say, no, book it, do it, stop. Understand? And that comes from this deceased loved one. Share that message. And if they don't listen, it's like I feel they're like taking, and you grab them from the back suspenders or something and say, listen to me, because this is what you need to do. Put your foot down. Put your foot down. Put your foot down. He needs to do this. It's something that's going to help him. Okay? And tell him that his foot is down for a purpose. Okay? I'm going to go way back out to the back wall. Have you recently lost a motherly image? Thank you. Okay. When they do this, okay, I don't feel it's that she's showing me, it's not ironing, but they're ironing out some issues that are going on around you, okay? And I feel this is a lot to do with things that you have to deal with for other either siblings or people that are in that. And she's busy getting that pressed out. So just ask and then follow the signs, because you don't have to take all of this. You've taken enough, and done is done. When she irons it out, you're going to know what chapters to cut off, because there's things that need to be cut out that you're going to be the one that, I put my foot forward. Don't feel bad about it. She'll iron that out. It's not going to bring you any hell. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go over here. This is a little bit different. I'm not sure if it's you or you, but I keep seeing a tail wagging around one of you, or maybe you. When I see a tail wagging, there's usually a pet that's around. Okay, there's somebody recently, or there's a pet that they were very close with, and I'm getting the color like brown or a light tan, that kind of a feeling. Anybody got this over here? Yeah? Okay. Do you have another dog in the house?
No.
Somebody has a dog around you.
Yes.
Okay. Because when you go to be with that dog, because I feel you visit that dog, he follows to join you to do that.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So know that it's not that he's stuck here, but he's always going to be waiting for you. And it's just like he still wants to frolic and play because he's much more healthier now and happy and vibrant, okay? I just want to let you know that. So when people come, sometimes they see the tail going, and that's how I'm going to leave that. Animals do come in and let us know that they're, either hanging around a little bit and in and out, or that they're with somebody else that's in the deceased world, so you know who they're with. So they too are spirits, and they're loving companions of ours as well. So. Somebody around. It's up, and I believe it's you. It might be right in this area. Somebody did either a lot of keyboarding or a lot of piano playing, something with their fingers. So when they got older, and I feel this was a female, when they got older, they had like this thing about going with their fingers some way to keep them busy. Because I'm feeling that feeling. Anybody around us right here? No, nothing. Not a female. Did they have? Were they very?
My grandmother was a knitter, crocheter, and
Oh.
when she was older, she had problems with her fingers.
Yeah, because okay. So I'm feeling there's something with the fingers with her. Thank you. Okay, so she would work a lot with those when she had them, right? I mean, yeah. So it's like she's showing me that I can move along again. She's also showing that she has compassion. I don't feel this is like a daughter of yours. I feel it's like a granddaughter or a younger child that's around now. So there's some form of compassion that she either watches over them or she walks with them at times. And I just have to share that with you because that's where she comes with. Okay. And whoever this is, they're going to get like an artistic value, and everybody needs to keep enhancing that. Okay? I think I'm going to end at that point because I like to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to work with beautiful angels. And so what I'm going to ask all of you to do at this time is I'm going to ask you all to get into your comfort place and give thought to something that you have a question about. Not 5 questions, just something that